So, C, describe the ghost. So, after the events then of last session of Octavius being revealed to be alive and then killed mercilessly and brutally by you all without heed for his feelings or his emotions in a completely one-sided and unfair battle. Not that I'm, taking sides. You all sort of retired to the mansion and you rested, you recuperated, you marveled at Alishan's skill, and you had many conversations about many things. And so the next morning then, I imagine Alishan probably has like birds chirping in the morning, or the sound of, but not real. You'll sort of come to in your various rooms that are perfectly designed to look after you, to meet your every whim. I'm not sure how the spell works. Either way, you come to, and would anyone like to do anything before everyone comes together for breakfast? Because there's a lot people need to discuss.
Remy will come down in his bathrobe.
Excellent.
Have your name emblazoned on it.
Only if I'll put it there.
Yes, it would.
Well then, yes.
So remember that isn't there like 20 other people in here as well?
Yeah, there's some of like the Balern people too.
Oh,
but
yeah.
say that like Remy still wouldn't come down in his bathrobe. They're lucky that he's getting the bathrobe.
I mean, that's because we have company that he's wearing the bathrobe.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
So I imagine they all kind of get their breakfast and start, because they're kind of eager to begin clearing out and fixing their home. So you guys maybe have like a private moment for breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
How is everyone doing after the events? Like after the initial kind of raw feelings are burned away and replaced by, you've had time to think about it. So how is Alishan doing?
Well, I think that, she and Arthas, went down to try and get drunk and forget about things. But I think being in like the fake tavern, even though it wasn't the Copper Marigold, which is where the last time she saw her brother before the last time she saw her brother was in the Copper Marigold in Davenport before she left for the Halls of Ivy. And so kind of being in that kind of surroundings, even though it was fake, probably like brought up like a lot of memories. And so like while Arthas was probably trying to cheer her up and all that other stuff, she probably just did a bunch of ugly crying. And so they probably weren't down there for very long. And so she's probably didn't sleep much.
Okay. And so I suppose she wakes up in the morning feeling just awful.
Like someone ground up glass and put it behind her eyeballs. Eyes all swollen and dehydrated.
So everyone comes down and meets for breakfast. Alishan looks as though, well, like she's just described. How's everyone else doing?
Remy seems to be in good spirit. He definitely is trying to sort of feel out the room, particularly where Alishan is concerned, and he'll sort of like shuffle over to her and sort of like put a hand on her shoulder while she's sitting at the table and just look at her really sincerely in the face and say, "You look like shit." Just hit her on the back.
Thanks, Remy. And she'll kind of put on kind of a brave face, because like she knows everyone's going to be worried about her, but like, not wanting them to worry about her. And so she'll just kind of put on like one of those uncomfortable for everyone else smiles. and just kind of like be like, so what do you guys think of your rooms? Are they all good? You know, trying to be like the good host.
It's really good, you know, but yeah, the pipe weed doesn't quite, you know, work the way it's supposed to.
Oh, I'll have to work on that.
Well, you know, it might help if you tried some real stuff first.
Well, that seems like it might be a bad idea.
Well, I don't know about that.
He'll reach into his bathrobe and pull out like a long rolled thing and like a tobacco leaf, and just spark it up. We'll take a match or something off the stove and just.
Okay, your turn.
It's like the size of his fucking arm. Like, it's a baby's leg sized blunt. Would Elishan take the giant spliff?
No thanks, Remy.
You sure?
Yes.
All right, if you're looking to kill your feelings, it's a really good way.
I'm not particularly,
No pressure.
I appreciate the offer.
That's the real stuff right there.
He'll go over and make himself a big plate of bacon and eggs or whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, Remy's not desperate for pizza. So, aside from that display, what about Byron and Rose?
Wanna go, Jade?
Sure. I imagine Rose is probably pretty quiet, kind of trying to, you know, make sure Elishan's okay. She's definitely, I mean, her and Elaine have had some, you know, pretty volatile fights before, but probably nothing quite to this level. And she's definitely kind of wondering, you know, how things could have gone differently if they had actually had to, whether or not she would have been able to fight Elaine. And so kind of feeling maybe a little ashamed with herself that she wouldn't have had, that she kind of has that thought.
All right. And what about Byron?
I imagine, considering how raucous Elishan and Arthurs and such were last night or something, they're not up particularly early. So I think Byron's been up a fair while, and he's like already, you know, planning something new. And there's maps on the edge of the dinner table or something, and maybe there's like Alfred and stuff, and he's just trying to already like planning some repopulation of Balerne, just like in full business mode before people come down.
Get some like time to himself to sort of have some thinking space before the chaos of everyone inevitably needing to talk to him. Definitely.
That's probably what kind of relaxes him or supports him most, is diving into the work. So
then I imagine we're sort of given this scene where everyone kind of finally meets up in varying states, some high, some hungover, some just tired, and some, you know, being like Byron and up early. But everyone kind of comes together. Arthas is looking pretty much as rough as Elishan.
So I'll be sitting next to Arthas and Elishan, and I'll try to pass the joint to Arthas, not even looking at him really.
Say, so, what do we do now?
And he'll like would give a sideways glance to Elishan before like refusing it.
If you want some, don't. Go ahead.
Nah, he just shakes his head. You kind of get the impression he's just not wanting to upset the apple cart at all.
Yeah, what do we do now? You got a lot of maps over there. I mean, cogs turning. Byron?
Yes. The refugees return in a matter of days, I presume, Rob?
Yeah, it's going to be a couple of days.
They return in a matter of days. We don't necessarily have to be there all that time, or be here all that time. We could return to the keep. Or not all of us have to be here on their arrival if we don't want to be. And he's kind of, skirting the subject. I'm sure we have some arrangements to do back in Haven.
I mean, like flower arrangements? What do we got to arrange?
And he's like, clears his throat, and then kind of like looks, middle distance, not past everybody. Funeral arrangements.
Oh.
And he kind of swallows a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I guess that falls on me, doesn't it?
No,
I mean, good.
I was going to say not solely. We have done a lot together. This doesn't have to be any different.
She'll kind of like nod her head and thanks.
Well, I don't assume you want to do anything for your pop, but what about Tavy? You know what he would have wanted?
I'm not entirely sure what he would have wanted. It's not exactly something you talk about with your siblings when, I mean, he was older than me, but not that much older than me.
Nothing needs to be decided now. Just mull over some things.
No, of course. He seems like the kind of guy who would have appreciated some revelry in his name, though.
Yes, I think that's... Yeah. Yeah, he would have.
Celebrate the man he was.
And she'll kind of not again.
Yeah, before he tried to kill you. What?
Nothing, just clearing my throat.
I'm sorry, is the smoke bothering you? I put it out.
Perhaps we don't bring up the last part.
Oh. Right.
Maybe we'll just get real quiet.
I think whenever he said that, like, Elishon's like face probably did that, like, boo, where like kind of shuts down, like blue screen of death style.
I have to play my 8 charisma. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You just hear the windows shutting down noise.
He meant a lot to you and looked after you. You should celebrate that in his memory. Regardless of what's happened in the last day or two.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a body to bury, so.
You still have a service.
Yeah, I have a few of his things back home. The the rapier I came to the keep with is actually his.
It's a fine looking sword.
She kind of nods. And then there's a book. Constellations. It's one that he gave me. She kind of like trails off in like this, not really here kind of way, but just kind of like thinking of nostalgia.
So is it a book about consternations?
Constellations.
What's them?
The stars. Some people have written stories about the shapes they make in the night sky.
Ah, star pictures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He gave me a book about
like
them.
Billy Bob the Farmer.
Yeah, and the beauty and the wolf and the hound and
I don't know those ones. I know about Grundle the Peach Thief.
Damn it, I am definitely going to have to write a book on Grundle the Peach Thief, huh?
So it's halfling mythology. I'm making it up as I go.
Love it.
It's all very agrarian.
Yeah, I was going to say Grundle the Peach Thief. I wonder what she did. She's probably a mass murdering serial killer or something.
As I said, we have a few days, and it takes us no time at all to get home.
Yeah. Oh, what about the book? Well, little girl, we were gonna do that before
No, yeah.
Gaia and things.
Perhaps we
Right,
should have
she's like trapped in a book, right?
This space between planes, I think, is what Perrin said.
Well, that's no good.
Didn't we think she was trapped where Kidius was?
You did.
Chaos. Yeah.
Yes.
Perhaps we should have the service first. Tonight, maybe? And then...
Well, I mean, is a little girl in mortal danger? I mean, maybe we should do that first.
She was in mortal danger. We've already waited 4 days? 5?
Well, right,
No.
but that's because your dad was, like, massacring people.
And I died. To be fair, I died. It's been like a week and a half.
Hope she has something
It's
to
been
eat.
like a week and a half.
Yeah. Hope y'all are ready to find a kid corpse. That's not funny.
Oh, God.
That's part of the reason I thought maybe we have the service first. Or maybe there'll actually be someone to remember him. If this child is trapped, who's to say that we don't make it back on time?
Well, we can do the service, whenever, right? Not much of a time crunch on that.
Baron is very... if I was playing like any other character, I'd just kick you under the table.
Milton kicks you.
Yeah. Baron is actually trying an attempt at like giving closure before we go and find something else, but
And
Well,
you probably get like the distinct sense that Elishon's trying desperately not to think about it, and so she's like suggesting other things to do instead.
Other than the service?
Yeah.
yeah, I was just, I don't know, Baron was thinking it would be better for you to clear your mind and have your moment saying goodbye or whatever, not leave that hanging as we go disappearing into a different realm that we might not come back from, or it might be weeks when we come back or whatever.
Elishon, what do you want to do? You want to go on a little adventure to save a little girl, or you want to say goodbye to your brother? I'm okay either way.
I suppose I shouldn't run from my responsibilities, and we should have the service.
Okay.
She's gonna says realizing that that's exactly what she was doing. She was trying to avoid her responsibilities again. But she can't do that anymore.
I think a sense of closure will be good for you.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it will be.
You know, just don't expect yourself to get over it too fast. These things take time.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I know that.
It's gonna hurt like a bitch for a long time, so you know.
Yeah.
So nothing down.
Uh-huh. So how was your room, Rose? Did you and Willow like it? Okay.
It was wonderful. Thank you.
I'm sorry the books in the library aren't right, Byron. But I thought you'd still like having the space.
I appreciated the aesthetic. It looks busy. And there's a small smile.
And Elishon goes to like staring at like her plate. But I guess we should eat and go home, I guess.
Remy's mouth is full of just eggs.
Now we're at it.
Byron joins in the breakfast. Pull out his enchanted alchemy jug and have tea or orange juice or something.
I'm probably gonna regret this, but Rose is gonna cast sending to message Elishon, even though she's quietly.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone rush you in this. If you're not ready, we'll understand.
Psychic
Sorry.
dead air.
Sorry about that. She'll respond back to Rose with it's like, no, I'll be all right. I shouldn't put it off, I don't think. It's not going to get any easier waiting.
Rose will just kind of nod.
Yeah, cool, great. Can everyone stop looking at me, please? And eat breakfast. Okay, bye. And she like eats like.
Remy's not looking at you all. Goes what?
She get anybody?
Yeah, I think Arthas would be specifically like focusing on his food, A, because he's always hungry, and B, because he knows that she doesn't want the attention. So like having sort of one less person to kind of, be staring at her and coddling her necessarily. So he's going to be focusing on the food, much like Remy, though less high. Much to his chagrin, I suppose.
Well, he's sitting right next to Remy. There might be some contact going on.
Hotboxing the mansion.
If a one halfling could do it, it would be Remy.
Yes. If anyone could do it.
I just got like Milton like fanning Byron's face or something. As they like waft over the map, he's like trying to plan on something.
Anybody needs to loosen up. It's Byron.
I know. You might get that in the epilogue or something when everything is done.
Sure.
Can you imagine? Oh God. So breakfast comes and goes, and how are you guys planning on getting back to the keep?
Do we have the ship here?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I would just take the ship back, yeah.
The 20 or so people that need it to get home. To the others that are here. We have some of our own people, right? And we have some of the Balloon Guard and Alfred
Yeah.
And
Alfred. Oh, sorry.
you go.
I was going to say Alfred and his men, Elaine, well, not Elaine anymore, Elaine, excuse me, Vela, Willow, Kirianti, and Bjorid all came as well. So too much for a teleport.
Sure. We should probably take Kirianti and Jorid back to the keep at least, if they don't want to say goodbye here. Have some sort of hero's goodbye.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll stay for the funeral. Who knows?
Yeah, I think Bjord wouldn't be keen, but Kiyontu would definitely make him.
Absolutely.
If they're welcome.
And we took Tade back to his people so he could take his people
So
back here.
he's like leading them on foot back to where you guys are kind of going.
So with any discussion back and forth, but basically the most pertinent question Byron will ask is, should we leave the Balern Garden Alfred here to welcome them? Like, make this place ready? Clean up a bit, etc.?
Sounded like some of them wanted to.
Yeah, that would definitely be Alfred's preference.
Sure. So he's got over the fact that he thought he was going to be lynched.
Yeah, well, now he's like, now he's not being lynched. He's sort of, as you say, he's kind of like, he's filled with a sense of like wanting to kind of make amends and
looking
do
for
right
redemption
by his people. Yeah, so
he and Tate had a moment, didn't they? Whenever
they did a bit.
Yeah,
there's sort of that understanding there.
Byron will say, like, by my estimations, they should arrive, at sunlight on the third day. Look to the west, that stuff.
Nice.
Look to the south. So Byron says if he is available, he will be here to welcome them, but we have other tasks elsewhere. He doesn't go into details that they might get lost in another plane for weeks on end, but
yeah, just casually leave that part out.
Yeah, I will. I'll make sure that Craig is overseeing it, even from a distance. So you will not be alone.
We do have all those Balern soldiers that we captured back at the keep.
They're being walked by the Grateful Dead back here, I thought.
Are they? Okay. Sorry.
Eager Dead. I always say grateful. Sorry.
Grateful Eager Dead.
When I'm done with them. If they're not, when we go back, we can start that march.
I think I remember that now. It's been a few weeks.
I just thought they were our slaves now.
Nope, that is not what's happening.
My initial thought was just Byron going, Remy, that's not good optics.
Optics? What?
Optics. I believe they're on the way. If they're not already, like, we set that in motion. But I'll tell him that they're coming here as well, and to liaise with the Grateful Dead.
Eager
Dead. God damn it. I was like, which one is it? Oh, I've forgotten already.
The one that's not the band.
Yeah, I know.
Fairly simple. Anyway, so
if I guess we'll leave them there then, if they're happy to do that.
Yeah. And so there's this, you part, and you guys are flying back. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Or are you teleporting back?
If we needed the 3 hours or whatever, we could. It's only a difference of hours, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So it might be more.
Byron enjoys sailing the ship, so he's going to take the opportunity to do so.
It's like when you first pass your driving test, all you want to do is drive.
Yeah.
Remy puts on his little hat.
All right, helmsman, to your post.
So as the sort of as the Alfred and his men sort of begin clearing up the city, and everyone's just sort of living one day at a time at this point. Kind of, people of Balern haven't really got anything to their names, and they're having to start from scratch. And so being able to have this sort of free existence, not living in fear like they were before, is, something of a blessing. And having this ability to rebuild Berlin in their sort of in the image of how they want it to be, and this once great city being brought back out from under the control of tyrants. They sort of are very grateful, but have a lot of work to do, and so being able to get on with that is a rewarding job for them. As for you, sail your ship back to the keep, finding it much as you left it. Yes.
Before we get back to the keep, can Elishon spend some time while we're sailing back with the amulet, her father's amulet,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to open it and what have you?
Yeah. So doesn't take you long to figure out. And when you do open it, inside you find a mirror on both sides, where there would normally be pictures. And there's a note written there on a small tiny piece of parchment that's rolled up. And when you kind of open it, you see, and it's his handwriting in this sort of long, flowing cursive script. It just says, "Remember what you are." And then the mirror. Apart from that, though, there is not much to. Yeah. And so you remember there's that sort of, I believe there was like a spike on top to open it. That required your blood. And that's
it did?
A little bit.
I mean, could have said that first.
Am I making that up? Or is that...
No, you said that there was a spike on it whenever you were like describing it that kind of like points up to the chin whenever it's being worn, but you didn't say that it had to prick my blood in order for it to open. Let's
be honest, yeah. It's a creepy vampire out there. It's not gonna, it's not gonna take anything but blood. So yeah, like you spike your finger on it eventually at some point as you, and just like a tiny drop. Like it's it's not a whole lot or anything. It's just needs to sort of come into contact with it, and it just like pops open. And that's what you see. As for everyone else, then, you get back to the keep and you find it much as you left it. Kind of people bustling around, making preparations and not preparations, sorry, like rebuilding after the battle still, and kind of expanding, growing the city, kind of, or the town beginning to thrive and kind of become self-sufficient. And actually, like, you see like a lot of people sort of waving up at you and everything as the ship comes over, and it becomes less of a kind of terrifying eldritch sight to these people and more, something that they're used to, a sign of hope that the powerful owners of the keep are home and able to protect them from whatever might come.
We are pretty dope.
You are pretty dope. So what would you all like to do when you arrive home? What would be your first things?
Have the dead already left with prisoners? Is that situation sorted, or do we need to talk something? Okay.
Yeah, like I imagine you can sort of use, your various sendings and that kind of thing to kind of organize it ahead of time, so that when you arrive, like the wheels are already in motion.
I'll find Craig.
Again. Yeah, easy. He's in his office, just working away on the various tasks that he's been given.
Afternoon, Craigie.
Good afternoon, sir. Says that kind of slimy voice that doesn't seem to affect you as much as everyone else.
So I wondered if you could do me a favor. Tegwin and the Eager Dad, they took the prisoners back to Belern, and I was wondering if you could draft a letter to Tegwin for me.
Of course. He like draws out a notebook.
Okay. So yeah, just tell him, make it sound like me, but prettier. Tell him thank you for your assistance. And Balloon's your problem now. Signed, Remy.
I will endeavor to get this message across in a way consistent with both your sensibilities and proper writing conventions.
Yeah, and tell him, postscript. If you need a hand, you give me a call.
Of course, sir.
All right. Good man.
I don't take a gold coin and try to tip him or something.
He'll just sort of stare at your hand, like he doesn't. It's a matter of pride that he's not going to accept a tip for his work, because that would assume that his work is better than normal, and his work is never better than normal. It's always the best it ever is.
Oh, never mind.
So it's sort of like a thanks but no thanks look you get, I imagine.
Sure.
Anything I can do for you? How you doing?
I am very busy.
Are you trying to tell me something? I don't take hints.
Of course not. I am merely suggesting that you have given me a lot of work, you being you and your friends, and I have a lot to be getting on with right now.
Well, all right, Cranky Pants. You signed up for this job.
Yeah, I did.
Don't tell me you regret it now.
Not at all, but I need to get on with work.
Ah, okay. Well, I'll just hang out with you while you work.
My work requires silence, quiet.
Oh, I can be very quiet.
Well, okay. Just
around this time, Elishon's going to actually show up to Craig's office.
Hi, that was a party.
Extremely happy to see you.
Remy, could I speak to Mr. Craig alone, please? Or Mr. Hollister?
Well, I'm not sure I want to give him the satisfaction.
And just elbow him in the knee.
It just stumbles slightly.
You're all right, Cricky. Okay.
I'll leave.
Thank you, Master Remy.
That's Remington to you, pal. I'm just kidding. You're all right.
At least.
How can I help you? Turns to you, El.
I have a bit of, I guess, familial matters to take care of. My father had several holdings in Davenport, and I'm sure elsewhere. I'm not entirely sure where he had all of his fingers dipped into. But, well, he's dead now, so something needs to happen with them.
What would you have me do? Liquidate them?
She kind of thinks for a little bit. I don't really have much need for gold myself. I'm perfectly happy with everything here and, well, businesses that are run here. I'm quite comfortable, thanks to your hard work, I'm sure. And so, yes, liquidate them. But if there's any properties that would make for a good donation or temple, I would like to donate the land to.
I understand.
Things. Yeah, she kind of spaces out for a moment.
He sort of nods and makes a note, just says, I understand. I'll liquidate your father's holdings unless they could be put to a more charitable use.
And she'll nod.
Is there anything else I can help you with? And he does look fairly haggard, but he always looks greasy.
No, that's pretty much it. If you can take care of that
Of course.
inheritance things, I'm sure there'll be something. Let me know if you require me for any of it.
I will. He sort of sighs. If you could do me a quick favor, I would greatly appreciate it if you could maybe employ Remington elsewhere for a while. He seems intent on spending time with me, and I have a lot to be getting on with.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you. He sort of like turns and heads back to his desk, which is just covered in paper.
And Elishan will leave. And is Remy like waiting out in the hallway to ambush Craig afterwards?
No, Remy's probably moved on.
Okay. It was a temporary whim, and now it's passed.
Yeah, more or less.
He's more just fucking with him. Like, Remy does what he wants.
Well, Remy could tell that he was being shooed away, and Remy's not going to
Yeah.
be shooed by anyone. Except for you guys. You can shoot Remy.
Awesome. During this time, what would Byron and Rose be doing then?
Rose, I was wondering, of course, speak to Elishan about it, but I was thinking something like this, and he sort of rolls out a piece of paper, but then I realized I can just do it with illusion. So he's going to open his hand, and there's like a pedestal, a plinth type thing, of perhaps a marble-ish like material. I don't really know of the description that she might require, but maybe we could create something like this. And it's probably a bit taller than Rose. Maybe it's quite fancy looking, and we could put it somewhere on the grounds.
Oh, and what is this for again?
For Octavius.
Oh, a memorial.
A memorial, exactly. Sorry, I got a little ahead of myself.
It's fine.
Perhaps you could work with her. I have an idea of my own, but at least some part of it should be real.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can definitely work on that. I don't... Is it something that needs to be decided right now, or...?
Just to be ready for the memorial in the evening. I thought you could get Freckled working on it, or if we have a stonemason or two.
I mean, this type of work can take some time. It's not something you can snap your fingers and make appear.
His thumb and finger tremble for a moment, because all he would have to do is snap and it would be real for a minute.
I mean, if you want to do a temporary until we can put a more permanent thing in place, that's fine, but stone has a mind of its own.
I have plans for something that'll stand for a little while, but I wanted at least the memorial there to be real.
So
perhaps less elaborate, and he kind of there's a shimmer, and it kind of changes to more of an obelisk or something that's just, almost just a lump of rock that's been finished or something. We had something.
I imagine Rose kind of sighs and rubs her temple. Stone has a mind of her own. You can't just rush something like that in a matter of hours. Especially not if you want it to be a memorial for a loved one. That could take days, weeks, no craftsman's going to agree to put a project together like that. At least none worth their weight or their salt.
Did someone just say the C word to Byron? It sounded an awful lot like someone said Byron cannot do something.
Byron can do whatever he wants to do. Rose is like, Stone is not going to do that.
Byron is like, his mind is working. A plaque? Like he's just looking for something.
So this is what I propose. You use your magics to create a temporary memorial. I will speak with Frackall and perhaps some of the stonemasons, and we will work on getting a more permanent solution in place using stone, unless you just wish to merely use your magics.
I think it should be permanent by the end, but for now, if you think, I was trying to be respectful. I didn't want it all to be. And he sort of says this word, maybe his lip curls a little bit, a charade.
I think she'll understand, or at least we can try to explain it. Well, maybe we shouldn't try to explain it.
If you think it's acceptable, then I can go ahead with what I have in mind.
I'm sure she will appreciate the effort.
Very well. In that case, could you perhaps advise me on an appropriate inscription or find one that she would wish? I can do the rest, but I'm not sure I'll be able to find the right words.
I can certainly assist you. I don't know if what gods or god that he may have, or even if he did. This is getting very elaborate. I'll try.
Good. And he kind of like looks up into the sky for a moment and just kind of judges, the exact time of day it is. I think we should have the memorial. What, 6, 7? While there's still light.
I guess. Like I said, I don't know the customs that they follow. Most Lathander services would be performed at sunset. That would be appropriate.
If they wish to follow that, then we can do that. Didn't she say she?
I mean, and she has a new patron now.
This all these denominations, it's a lot of work.
Yes.
Proper respect.
You don't wish to insult her or her brother's memory.
I'll leave it in your good hands.
Thank you.
He turns on his heel and leaves as quickly as possible. That was more complex than he thought it was going to be, for a majority of reasons, but not unreasonably so. I'm not saying that was unreasonable, but I think that was fairly Byron.
Excellent. So is this kind of day? I imagine you guys arrive back like noonish, maybe early afternoon because you slept in a bit. You've got the afternoon to do as you please. So maybe Rose and Byron are sort of sorting out their various things for the memorial. What would Remy and Al be doing for that day?
Remy would probably just be taking it easy. Yeah, kicking it mostly.
Excellent. What about Al?
Elle would probably be up in her room, like going through like some of the things that she has that Octavius gave her. So, like, her old rapier that she doesn't use anymore because she has that nice one that Byron bought season 2 or whatever. And then the book of constellations.
Yeah.
Maybe spent reading some to Arthas.
Yeah, I was going to say Arthas is like, he's with you, but he's not saying much. He's trying to give her space, let her keep her distance, but he doesn't want her to be alone. So, if she wants to talk, he'll talk. If she wants to just sit and read and like kind of mourn or whatever, then he's down with that, but he's not leaving her.
Yeah, she's probably doing that thing, like whenever she finds something, she like tells him about like when she got it, what Octavius did to go through it, or to get it, because I'm pretty sure like she's like never had proof, but is like fairly certain that her brother stole the book that he gave her, that he just kind of like found it and doing.
That's a solid assumption.
Yeah, solid assumption, especially because there's like an inscription on the inside to someone else, but she never told him about it.
It's still got the price on it.
And then like the rapier is like what he like taught her how to fight with, like because he had a rapier as well. Yeah. Not that he had it on him. He didn't have it on him, did he?
Nah, because he was defenseless.
Yeah.
You guys just killed him nonetheless.
Yeah. He didn't have any of his things. His white gloves, his fancy ivory rapier, had none of that. But she would have been telling Arthas about it and all that other stuff. And it's kind of sad without trying to seem sad.
Yeah, it definitely would be like a melancholy sort of. Well, I mean, I don't think you can have like an event like that without it being melancholy. But she, Arthas would definitely sort of be trying to be as supportive and like, muted as possible. He probably wouldn't say much during the day, unless she was like desperate for conversation.
She's probably had a pretty good, easy time of filling the space herself, the way she chatters when she gets nervous.
Or any other emotion.
Yeah, nervous, excited, shy. But I'm sure at some point she'll probably like, thank him for being there for her and all that other stuff with like with her dad. It's another promise that he kept.
Yeah. And he would, dismiss it. It's nothing.
He makes a motorcycle sound.
Yeah.
It turns into a motorcycle.
While it escapes into a transformer. Autobots, roll out!
That's the perfect boyfriend. Hunky robot who's also a car.
Exactly.
I've just thought of something. If you were going to move on.
I was.
So I wasn't going to build my halls until it was safe. And now it is safe, because there is no attacking army. So now I could... Byron said... I imagine his students have been, working on the cure in the background or something, more doses of it. But now that it is deemed safe, he can write a report to the halls saying such, and that they can send construction wizards or whatever to begin
Aren't we still under threat from Amon?
I mean, safe is a relative term. We've not got an army bearing down on us.
That's pretty safe.
And who isn't threatened by a lich now and again?
Well, I'm just saying, we could kill the lich first.
Or, chaos beasts, monsters.
Queens. I mean, how much... We've not been too badly besieged by beasts for a while. Maybe the start of the plans can happen or something. He's going to put them in motion anyway. Like, if it's going to get
decision, Byron.
Good.
So do I.
It could get destroyed by a Chaos Queen at any point, but
so could everything.
Life must go
on. So he's going to write a report detailing the war and it's being over, and the construction can begin, at least like the plotting and design and whatnot.
Yeah.
And messages can be sent.
So yeah, what I suppose, not to put you on the spot or anything, but what kind of thing would he be kind of trying to build? What are his design notes? What are the halls of Marin going to look like?
So I imagine that he has some sort of design of the wider city. We've established these walls, and they're slowly filling up with the odd temple and stuff. So part of that is cordoned off, quite a large part of it, and plotted out. I'm thinking something like if you. Just on the off chance something. Let me send that through. Just on the off chance, because it was the last palace that I visited, I could base it off Drottningholm. The Swedish palace, where the royals live, or like there's this. So it's like a big stately, I don't know what you would call that, like Georgian or something.
Yeah.
And it has wings, and there are domed areas, perhaps with, wizard observatories or whatever.
Observatories.
And there are. Sorry?
I was just going to say, it kind of looks like Westchester, like the X Mansion.
It does, actually. It does a bit. It's actually
school for.
It's actually on its own island.
Wizards.
You go and access it by boat. It's really cool. But yeah, so there'll be like a large garden out front, and statues and all the rest of it. And yeah, so I think there's like a main building of several stories, and there's lots of different windows, and then there's these wings, and I think they kind of wrap around to form a courtyard, maybe. And there'll be a fountain there or something. But like, it's just the plans, and it will be the marking out, and because the main reason it was going to be is the study zone or whatever for the books, like the millions of books coming in and out of.
So it would need to be of some substantial size to be able to cope with that. So
yeah, I think at any one time they'll be studying, like a portion, like a few thousand books or whatever, and then like rotating them out into an organized fashion and back again. So there'll be like reading rooms and archives, and I imagine as far away as the archives as possible, there'll be like any experimental facilities or something. It's more of like a research campus, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's not so much teaching, because no one's going to come out here to get taught, maybe. There could be a magic circle started, maybe, to connect them to the network.
Yeah, we'll say like they've got like a magic circle kind of, like person to do
poor
it for
dude who has to cast it every day for a year.
Yeah.
But, so something like that. And I think it could be like a pale stone. Maybe not as severe as like granite or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, I like it. So, as we wind down then towards evening, and there's this sort of more whereabouts is Byron kind of, I suppose Byron and Rose are sort of organizing this. I don't know how much of a say Alishan would want to have, but whereabouts are you planning on this taking place? Whereabouts are you planning on this memorial being raised in his honor?
I mean, I think we'd both defer to anything that Alishan wanted, but Byron just wants space enough to build a building of moderate size temporarily. But that's a secret.
So maybe on the outskirts then?
Possibly. Wherever she wants. If there's a pretty hill somewhere, or
where does
a
she
favorite spot, I don't know. doesn't even have to be in the city. Could be on the hillside, or
Her brother was such a city boy, though.
okay.
Don't sing it.
Was I gonna sing something?
Just a small town girl.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally wasn't gonna.
Just a city boy. Born and
um,
raised in suburban.
no, but I think like Elishon's been like aware that Rose has been wanting to bring more temples in, and now that she's got this new goddess to champion, there would need to be a temple built for Arame at some point. And so I think we put the temple to Lathander up on a hill so that it could catch the first rays of the sunrise or whatever.
Defo.
So that could be like the beginning of our temple district, I guess, in New Haven or Frosthaven.
Yeah. I like it.
So yeah, like somewhere on that hill, maybe on the other side somewhere. That's where she would want this memorial for Octavius to be, because I think eventually she will want to get this temple to Arame built, which she already kind of has an idea for.
Ooh.
I don't know if, I guess maybe while we're talking about planning on building things, like a temple for Arame, I think for Elishon would be like a big building that has a sunken area that's like filled with like a reflecting pool, kind of like how in like the basement of the library there was like the pool that the guy was in.
Yeah, awesome.
And so like it would kind of be like you enter the temple and it's like a bunch of stairs like leading down into like surrounding a reflection pool like in the center.
Yeah.
And so a bit like this. That's in the chat. Minus like the caverny feeling on like the outside of it. But basically kind of like a thing like that. And so like big open area where like the light can kind of come through into.
We don't have permission to look
Yeah,
at
we
it.
need access.
Gosh damn it. Yeah, let me fix that real fast. Okay, we should be able to now.
Yeah.
Not use that link. Okay.
Slowly.
Hmm?
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of what she's envisioning for Arame. I don't know. It feels right. Maybe it's Arame telling her what she wants. Who knows? At least Elishon wants to think so, at least.
Okay. So, we got all these plans, we got all these things moving and all these, different interesting and exciting adventures afoot. But before all that, we're going to need to do this ceremony. So imagine it's quite a small ceremony, maybe only you people are there, like the people who saw him or people who are close to Alishan, it wouldn't be a thing for wider people because no one really knew who he was and the significance of him. But I think we can sort of have it be wherever Alishan would have it. And so you said somewhere in the city, Al?
Yeah, near the Temple of Lathander that we've got.
Yeah. So maybe I imagine there's sort of like a courtyard around there, like next to the temple where there's, a really good spot where the sun hits. What would be Byron and Rose like doing during the ceremony? I imagine there's probably not that much pomp and circumstance to it. You know, maybe they were create a bonfire or something in his name, but as for what they can actually do, you know, they're quite limited. What would be, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, what do you guys envision? What would they try and do for the ceremony to kind of show and remember Octavius? Because I know you guys have plans, or I've been led to believe that you guys have plans.
I'm just going to say you might, if anyone has any plans, you might want me to just be the last one to do it because mine are really bombastic. But okay.
Yeah, I can go first. I think like Elishan we would have like the ceremony start or whatever, and there's like the a little like bit of like some of like the smaller things that Octavius gave her, like maybe like the books on like a little pedestal type thing, and then in the rapier, and I think the shawl that she wears, one of the shawls that she wears, it was also a gift from him, if I remember properly, and so she'd kind of like have that as like a little drapey thing for like all of like these items, and then like she wouldn't do like a big speech or anything, but she would kind of have a like a little, she would say a few words in Elvish, and it would be like the sorry. And so she'd kind of like stand and not like really like look at anyone. It was just kind of like maybe like at like the things that she set out, like she's talking to Octavius, and he's not there, but she's talking to him as though he is, and she says, "Vetanai terore ire amen ele la ananta lelel narayan amen sut sasleel nain hara harea manka area namen sanenti mani amen centra are korere ele aminayams sana iwara wana dwele tinia lanya dehen iliamist tai skuna ni qua vamanakaden ala dara vore aro edmin." And for I think Rose, everyone who speaks Elvish, which I think is everyone except for Remy, unfortunately, she says, "It seems like it was yesterday when I last saw your face, and you told me how proud you were, and we walked away. If I only knew what I know today, I would hold you in my arms and let the pain go, take the pain away. Thank you for all you've done, and forgive us both our mistakes. And there's nothing I wouldn't do to hear your voice again."
Could you maybe copy paste that, please?
I most certainly can.
You can also have an inspiration for that.
Thank you.
Speech.
Once Elishan's speech finishes, and if there's a few seconds of lingering silence, Remy will sing. And not a particularly like mournful song, but just like a bittersweet halfling song about a young dashing rogue who falls in love with a girl and runs away with her. And they live happily ever after. And that's it.
Nice. I like it.
Sounds like Remy singing, so it's not particularly pretty.
Whatever, he's got a lovely singing voice.
It's canon now. So once Remy finishes a song, Rose will kind of step forward, and she's definitely wearing more of her cleric garb, more of the reds and the golds than she normally wears. And she'll kind of incline her head to Elishan, and you'll have to forgive me. I don't know if he particularly followed Lathander, but that's all I know in situations like this. I know that one of the tenets of the faith of Lathander is that we're not supposed to be sad at the passing of a loved one. But we're also taught that it's important to participate in the grieving process. We should mourn them and think fondly of the joyful memories that we share and created with them. We know that in doing these things, we will keep their memory alive and be able to embrace the next dawn that we see. It's not meant to take our pain away, but allow us to remember the good things in life. And we keep these with us to remember our loved ones. And Rose will hand Elishan a small sunstone and say, keep this with you and know that he loved you and his sacrifice meant that you are here with us today. And then she'll just kind of step back.
Elishan would like step forward and like hug her like really, really tight before she has a chance to step away.
So Byron steps up to you, and I'm sure you might be a little tearful or something after all of that. And he takes both of your hands, and he looks to you, and we're standing next to the memorial, which I imagine the plinth or whatever is put in place. There is the book like wrapped in the shawl, and it's draped down one side, and the rapier stands against it, at like an angle. And he holds your hands tight, and a domed building is born over everybody here, just us. And he says, close your eyes and describe him to me. You can describe him, or just say you describe him if you want. But
yeah.
Describe to me how you knew him, like how you remember him.
Yeah, so Elishan would close her eyes and say, Octavius Uriah Montgomery Rutherford III was larger than life, but still a half-elf of pretty much of nothing stature, barely taller than me, but you wouldn't know it by the way he talked and the way he went through life. Finely dressed as he could afford, sometimes more than he could afford or what other people could afford. But he believed in the finer things and living life to the fullest and not taking a moment for granted. And I loved him very, very much.
So taking what he knows, what he can extrapolate, what he's seen, I don't know, what she's told him about him. She has her eyes closed, but the others see this as it's done. So this building has shimmered into existence above them, and it is real for now. And beside them, above the plinth, his like maybe a slightly ghostly blue apparition of just like him, his face in proper dimensions, smiling, hovers there, and then suddenly in this darkness, in the darkness that is this domed building, there are specks of light that suddenly appear all over, and then one by one they like connect together, and it forms like a constellation dome, and an observatory of sorts. So they're bathed in the light of the stars. Open your eyes.
Yeah, Elishan will open her eyes and like see the figure and the stars and constellation, and like, you know, she was already like crying before, but like, you know, she cries again, but it's, you know, like a happy kind of like, oh wow, that's fantastic. And thank you. And she'll like hug Byron, and
While you're like embraced, he says like quietly, maybe the others can hear, while we remember him, he's never gone.
and she just kind of nods and thanks him again, like whispering.
And there is also an exit. You're not just trapped in here. But there is no light but the light of the stars. And it kind of looks vaguely like the Pantheon, I suppose, in Rome. Just this big, sort of simple domed building from the outside that doesn't give away its secrets, perhaps.
Well, I'd just like to give everyone an inspiration for this whole scene. I think it was really good, and I think everyone just deserves it for the last few sessions anyway. And so as Kidius's memory is Octavius's memory, my bad, is honored by each of you in your own way. It all kind of contributes to this overall sense of finality and kind of closure for Elishan, that yes, her brother is gone, but so are all the bad things that were around for him to see, and so is your father, who's been such a kind of negative factor in your life. And you know, after everything that's gone, there is the pain, but there's also the kind of hope of a new beginning and a new status quo that you can move on and live in and survive in. And so as your sort of internal ceremony comes to an end, I imagine each of you are feeling kind of raw, sad, but maybe nervously optimistic, conscious that things might not be as bad in the future as they have been.
Anybody want a drink?
Be appropriate.
Yes, I would love one.
Well, then let's go drink. Drinks on Arthas.
Seems only fair.
Yeah. Imagine he probably doesn't say anything during the ceremony. He's not, a great wordsmith, and hasn't really got anything to give except, his presence, which is, for Arthas, is usually more than enough. He says a lot by saying very little, oftentimes, and this is one of those instances. But he is more than happy to order everyone drinks from the Blissful Mistress, where you get them all free anyway.
I was about to say, does he even have pockets? I don't think.
No, like
Definitely doesn't have gold.
yeah, he doesn't have any money, and you own the place that gives you the drinks, and dude legit just wears like furs for pretty much his whole life. So yeah,
God, he's gonna smell so bad.
he has multiple sets. That's actually canon. That's not something I just made up. He has several sets of fur. But no, I imagine Elishan probably keeps them clean.
Or she just likes the smell of musk.
Yeah.
No, there's a bath in her room.
It's the before and after sex bath.
Enduring?
And yeah, it multitasks.
It's a busy bath.
It's one of them dwarven tub types. It's all like huge.
Sex in the bath
Relatively
is never
speaking.
smart.
Sort of like
And that's
clothes.
your weekly life weekly life advice from Dylan.
I'm just saying.
I like the idea, instead of, like those big regal clawed feet kind of bath, it's like carved like goblins holding it up or something as a bit of a joke.
No, see, I kind of picture it as like it's like stones that are like kind of like built it down into the floor almost,
Oh, I see.
or whatever. So kind of like a mini,
Like a sunken bath.
yeah, and then like because it's magic or whatever, the stones heat up and make the water warm or whatever, because magic.
A wizard did it.
Yeah. The wizard did it. Because good
Excellent.
lord, you don't want to have a bath up here in the north without some sort of heat source.
I'm sure there's a
Um,
geothermal spring around here somewhere. Piped
So
in.
how are we doing for time? I know people have to go fairly early.
I can play till about 6, or I guess another hour and 45 minutes.
Okay. How about everyone else? Does that work for everyone else?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah, more funerals. Woo!
Yay! Let's go get crunk.
Yeah.
So, for the second night in a row, you all, or for some of you anyway, it's the second night in a row of drinking. And I imagine it's sort of a long, just one of those half depressing, half enjoyable evenings that goes on way too long and gets really weird towards the end.
I think it being like the second night or whatever, Elishan's no longer drunk sad.
No.
And probably like
She's
regales
just-
everyone with stories about her brother. Like this one time
Absolutely.
how he got like arrested, and like the reason he never came and visited her up in the halls in Viros is because he got arrested for sleeping with the guard captain's wife after catching the after sleeping with the guard captain or something. She can't ever remember it because it was probably both of them.
Sounds like quite the rascal.
So yeah, lots of stories like that of how he could no longer work in such city because he did X.
It's like, damn, there's like 4 places that dude could go.
Byron's maybe trying to keep up with the storytelling with the illusion, so there's like a little tabby running out with like a tower around him being chased by a tiny guard captain around some mugs or something.
I mean, who hasn't slept with the wrong guy's wife?
That happens to us all once or twice, I'm sure.
And so the night kind of dwindles and everyone goes their separate ways eventually. For yet another morning of planning and or other things. But before that, I think we'll go take a break, if that's cool with everyone.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine with me.
Cool. All right. See you in a bit.
And funerals are hard, even fake ones.
Maybe. I was trying to think of the name and I can't remember because I remember going to one as a kid. Like, I don't know if you know, like the giant dome building where you go and you sit in, like the chairs recline back and you kind of like. There's got a name for them.
Aren't they observatories?
Well, observatories are the ones with the giant telescopes, unless they're also called observatories. But
I think they are. At least
but it's
maybe
like a
they're
bit more like a
named.
cinema experience. You like sit in
Yeah.
the like educational.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's the kind of thing that I had pictured for that. Only you know
Nice.
archaic, so it was more like the Pantheon from Rome.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I liked the incorporation of the starlight stuff.
yeah, that was new because you kind of made it a thing with the book and stuff. I knew I was going to do something, and I was going to make like your, because I can't remember if it was in the discussion with Rose or something that I talked to you about, something about like making the temple
Mhm.
temporarily for Arame, but then I was like, constellation room thing sounds nice.
Mhm.
And I kind of really wanted that little plinth memorial thing to build the room around and to make a little holographic tombstone almost of Tevi for a bit.
Mhm. The Force Ghost. I really like
Force
that
Ghost.
part.
Um,
You have had Crean playing shin bones. And it sounds suspiciously like Ugluck.
I was just something
Hmm.
that he could
No.
do, I suppose, that not many other people can do, because he can remember. He knows how he looks when he was a
Mhm.
vampire, but that's what he wanted you to tell. So he could kind of like make alterations,
Mhm.
and then he could give you a chance to say goodbye, I guess, to him again.
Mhm.
Uh,
I liked it. I liked everybody's.
I like halfling culture. I want to learn more about the halflings.
For sure.
I mean, Remy kind of like laid down the groundwork for a halfling adventure. I don't know if we'll fit it into the main continuity, but maybe we can do it as some one shots or something. Like one-off stories told before the end.
Mhm.
Maybe we will survive and we go visit the halflings. Maybe, or maybe there's some more downtime or something. But it'd be cool to build that out a bit.
Yeah.
Rose was slightly offended when you suggested that they got a stonemason to whip something up in a day.
Yeah, I like the idea that Byron is, all ideas, but not practical whatsoever, or not very practical. But
I like that there totally is a way for like a stonemason to do that with magic, stone shape, but dwarves would probably be offended. Yeah, that would be offensive to suggest to them just to shape it out of magic like a druid would.
he just wanted one piece of it to be real, because he realizes that as much as he can do with illusion necessarily, that he didn't want it all to be fake.
Mm-hmm. Totally understood the sentiment. He didn't want it. Yeah.
I liked him, like, I could just see his face when I was like, because I was thinking of that sentence as I was going along, and then when I came at the word charade, I just thought of it as like such an insult to what he does. I just like saw Byron's disgusted face looking at me. How dare you?
Yeah, I really like that. It's good because, and with you guys, like, even when I'm not on my game, I don't really need to do much to have awesome moments like we've had in this session. Like fucking that funeral scene was awesome, and I did literally
could have
nothing.
had Arthas do something, but you're just like,
I was-
Arthas is gonna do nothing.
But
I
it was
was-
Arthas.
Thing is, I was considering it, and I was like, it's kind of he probably should, but what would he do?
I imagine he's the kind of person to do something in private afterwards.
Yeah.
Like,
So
and I
think of
also
something quick.
Oh, okay. But I think he is, he's not the person to like, do a big gesture or sing a song or, say a prayer, because
I imagine that was pretty intimidating for Arthur's in general.
yeah, and like an all-family funeral is all about planting a tree, right? So that might be something he would suggest, but it's not, it's not like he would have some big words to say about this man that he only just met and tried to kill his girlfriend. Like Arthas is, he's going to be realistic and be like, I don't really know him. It's not very appropriate for me to say something. He was only there for Elle, and to be there for her, for him, just is like a support thing, not necessarily to be like, yeah, I miss your brother so much.
It's like being invited to a wedding that you don't know anyone at, but
exactly
your spouse.
Yeah.
You're just sort of there to show your face. But I mean, it's a bit more than that. Like he's there to make sure Al's all right, but that's his sole concern. He's not fussed. He's not fussed, but he's not there for Octavius as much as he is there for Al. Which I think is probably true for everyone, but still.
Yeah.
Arthas isn't going to do something. I don't think he has anything that he could really do anyway. He's a bit dumb.
He's still mad at her for letting him die in the first place anyway.
But yeah, so I think everyone's back. Is everyone back? Jade back?
No.
Cool. And we'll just play with that.
All right.
Is Remy back?
She sucks anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have the camera on. Yeah, Dylan's back.
Yeah.
So, the evening passes, turns to morning, which I imagine for all of you is a time of hangovers, even Byron.
I think he might have drunk a little more than usual, yeah. I imagine it's like, a mild, like, finger to the temple kind of thing.
But Milton brings him an ice pack and a lemon tea, and he's absolutely fine after that.
Dab down.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'd just like to ask before we begin with the day's things, does anyone have any plans for this day? Would there be anything you guys have discussed that you'd like to accomplish? Because certain NPC things could happen or not, depending.
Are we gearing up to maybe try and plane hop after this girl? Is that the intention?
I think that was the next most important thing, was trying to get this girl rescued.
And potentially kiddies?
If he's up for it.
Endless torture, rescued, yeah.
I mean, from how Perrin described it, they're like, it's like being trapped in the cloud after a transporter accident in Star Trek. So they might be impossible to find them. So that's the other thing we have to consider. I said like before, like while we were waiting for like the Gaia attack, that Elishan was trying to research some of that.
Sure.
Did she find anything?
You're not going to find anything on this book, or
the plane. Okay.
Yeah, this is some like esoteric, archaic stuff that no one has ever researched, apart from to write the book that summons the plane.
Do we, like, in the world in general, like, they know of the elemental planes or, like, the Feywild or anything? Like, is that established, or do they not? Is there very little planar stuff?
Oh, no, there's tons of planar stuff. Elishan's got books and books.
I imagine it's sort of like stem cell research, where everyone kind of knows vaguely what it is, but only a few people really know the ins and outs.
Sure.
Like I think
but
it was
It's not like
there
master
are
planar travelers, particularly.
no, but there are the chimes, which are like planar anchors that are portals used to travel between the planes, but they don't really get used.
There's a canon planewalkers in the second session. I mentioned the planeswalker that thought she brought the chaos to Neath.
No, there are a few, but
It's not established. It seems to be a very cutting edge, or
yeah, it's pretty cutting edge, but
I
it's still
see.
like, and it's very imprecise science, and
yeah, it's not very easy to navigate. We can't just go, oh, there's a planar gate over here, and we'll end up where we think we're going to end up. It's really risky.
Yeah, it's like faster than light in Warhammer, where like you can do it, but there's gonna be consequences up to your balls.
I did think of something though that I would like to do before we get into meaty things.
I'd love to hear it.
Elishan hasn't been feeling quite right since some vampires took some tasty treats out of her neck. Can she get some Arthas or Rose to restore her some, maybe?
She can get those back on a long rest, I believe.
Say what?
I can get those back on a long rest.
See, whenever I asked you before, you said I needed a restoration, but
maybe you need a rest. I don't know. I'll check for you.
I don't. A bit pale and wan.
I'm looking about 30 hit points down permanently.
All right. I mean, if I have to, I got you.
The lower Bailey coming out of there.
Like, straight up.
I'm the best healer.
Yeah, she lost 32 hit points permanently.
And you get it back after a long rest.
Oh, okay. But never mind.
2 drunken long rest.
I did. That counts for at least one actual long rest.
It's just science.
The first one probably didn't count, considering, honestly. But the second one was probably much, much better. Yeah.
Very well.
Did some life affirming, I'm sure, at some point.
Yeah. And so, yeah. Anyway, back to my question. Does anyone have things they wish to do?
So we're aiming to planar travel. Does that mean we're aiming to go and follow down those Goliath planar travelers in that city that we kind of have heard about from Silver, who is around?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, so I'm guessing Kirionte and such stayed for the funeral and haven't left yet?
No.
Okay. I guess because we don't know where it is, we're not going to teleport, so it's more ship sailing over the mountains.
Is that where you're going?
I thought we didn't want to randomly planar travel blind, and we were going to maybe investigate that as an option for if they knew more.
I mean, it makes sense to have at least some information before we at least attempt this.
Maybe they have a way of safely maintaining consciousness in a plane like that, so we can actually find people, or a way of safely getting back, since like the way it was described, like you lose all sense of whatever. So it's like, if we teleport in, we can't see or touch or feel each other. So there's no way of teleporting back without Byron being able to see or touch us.
Oh, okay. This is
You
sounding more
that?
dangerous by the minute. Okay.
Yeah. That's what you
You
said.
guys fully understood the connotations of a literal plane of absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it was described to us.
Yeah.
Sure, but when was it described to us? Like
Back when we found out about it, yeah.
I mean, Byron has perfect memory. I don't.
Byron would remember this, and so Byron would probably be like, "Yeah, we need to go talk to these Goliaths."
Yes.
Yeah.
You see, Dan remembered enough to want to go to talk to Goliath. He didn't remember the reason why.
Definitely not somewhere you want to go. Full stop, really. But it's not somewhere you want to go blind or go. Yeah. You don't want to go there blind.
Because you'll be blind when you get there.
You won't be blind. There's just no light and nothing to see.
Mm.
So if you want to call that blind, then
Sorry, I'm going back to my notes from when we first discussed this, and they're so eloquent because you guys were talking to Perrin, and I was just kind of flailing emotionally, and so it's all like something 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 ... maybe fuck something something something. He looks guilty as fuck. Something something something. It was an accident. What the fuck did this guy do? It's just like me writing down what he said, and then little WTF notes right next to it.
I mean that's pretty much how I described it.
I just had to share that.
So are you going to have Silpha guide you to the place that I'm trying to remember the name of?
Algar.
Yes, that's it.
Can I ride him again?
I mean, he hasn't gone back into his dragon form since the fight, and it's taken some recovery. Because if you remember, he still kind of a little bit cursed from that witch, so he is not he's not full strength, and so having having that battle took a lot out of him.
Yeah, because he didn't even maintain his full dragon form. He just got wings, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what happened?
Yeah. He hasn't actually gone full Drago for a while. Well,
but he did have his breath.
You might have seen him do it. Yeah, he did. It was awesome.
Because we've rested, some of us have had the ability to change spells. Is there stuff, Jade, that locate creature or something that might very much help us? Or even have you thought about maybe summoning some sort of planar ally into that plane to help us, because they might not be affected in the same way?
I mean, those are all things I can do.
Yeah, I just thought we could strategize a little bit or something, just for spell choices, because it might come up.
I have plane shift. So
Good.
if teleport doesn't, so that's I have plane shift.
And I have
It's
the
all very
telepathic
abstract
bond.
to Remy, so he's gonna be very useless for this conversation.
Unless Remy has ideas like tying each other together with rope or something.
Well, the concept of what a plane is, he has no idea what you're talking about. The space between realities and other dimensions.
Sure.
What?
Sure.
So there's really, he's going to pretty much have to trust you on this one.
You know where that the big eyeball guy who was interested in you? It's kind of where he lives. Or
No, we're not going there again. No, we're not doing that. Well,
But a different place.
It's a different place.
Does it have a giant eyeball in it?
I mean, it might.
It might.
I
Does
mean,
it want
no.
my soul?
Full disclosure, we don't know.
I mean, it might want your soul.
It could also be filled with puppy dogs.
Even worse.
I don't know why I signed up with you people.
You want to rescue that little girl?
I mean, not that bad.
I understand that puppies are terrifying.
She's already dead.
I mean, if it's the puppy dimension, then she's probably better off.
I have the telepathic bond, at least. That might help.
So here's an idea. For whenever we do find them, I have banishment as a spell. And with banishment, if you don't belong on the plane that you're on, it teleports you back to your home plane. Do I think that would work? Do I think that would work? Okay, cool. That might be another good thing for Rose to have packed.
But where it teleports.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my first thought. It would work. You just have no idea where you've sent them. Onto the material plane into the middle of the sea. Anywhere.
5,000 feet in the air.
We have no idea of the relevant orientation.
I'm going to have a lot of fun.
It's what Byron would mention if you bring that up. Great thought.
Defo cast that.
I mean, there's maybe not a little.
I mean, I'm not going to kill your character, but
no, I'm just. You've already done that once.
I mean, we had so much concern about the teleportation mishaps, which was
Yes.
just like you end up somewhere else.
Yeah, and so I
this is
imagine that
awful.
Elishon mentions it, and then Byron like brings out the same whiteboard, drags it out from behind a bookshelf, and just see like, but you see, the problem is here that you have exponentially made this worse because it's not just 5 miles out from your destination; it's all of me that you're talking about. You
Yes.
can't be anywhere.
Just like a series of one shots of like Remy just in the middle of some place that he's never been before, a Sean, and then he just shows up in the next campaign.
I'm afraid the trajectory would be unfathomable, my dear.
Mm.
So you have Elishon has plane shift then?
Yes.
I don't need to worry about that.
I mean, you could take double in case we need it, but
Yeah, I only have it once.
Well, I have word of recall.
Oh, how many can that get?
You went up to 5.
So we can only bring back.
that should be everyone.
No, you
No.
can bring back. Yeah, you can bring back you 4 and 2 others.
Mm-hmm. So Kreen can't go with us, and Arthas can't go with us.
I'm just saying it's an option for needing to get out of there if we don't have everybody together.
If
Like,
2 of us are dead.
Well, don't ruin my plans.
Well, I suppose Arthas, I can always bring him. Well, I don't know if the Airstone works through dimensions. We never.
I do.
We never practiced that.
Also, how badly do you want to engage? Because this is potentially one of the most dangerous things we've ever done, and anyone you bring on this might not come back, including us.
Yeah.
So it might be a time not to include the people that you love dearly or want to see alive.
I think Arthas needs to sit this one out.
He's going to be real salty about that.
How much is plane shift?
How much is plane shift?
As in, like, how many people?
Oh,
You went up to 8.
You went up to 8.
So that is an option, but recall isn't. But unless in a dire situation.
And word recall is a Hail Mary.
And doesn't word of recall
Literally.
only take like an action, and plane shift takes like a minute, or?
Yeah,
Does plane shift take a minute? No, it's an action.
it's an action.
It's an action as well. Okay, so I just wondered if recall was like, get out of dodge very, very quickly.
So, like, for a word of recall is also a 7th level spell.
6th level.
6th level. So, okay, for a lesser spell slot, you can do less of us back home, but why not take plane shift? Because we'll need a plane shift to get there and a plane shift to get back. Because I can only do it once.
Yeah, but what is Jade giving up? Like, what high level spell is she giving up? And that's the issue.
I have the spell slots or the spells to be able to prepare it if I need to.
Okay.
I'm just saying you probably would want to, because I can only get us there. I can't get us back unless the Algar can get us there. But we don't know that. So it might be worth having it prepared, is what I'm saying.
It's your 7th level for plane shift.
It is my only. So I couldn't Magnificent Mansion.
That's what I'm thinking. That's one of the few refuges we have potentially in any plane. We wouldn't have that. Unless Rob was being very, very kind and I went and studied up for hours and hours and hours at great cost. But
great cost to you guys still doesn't really mean anything in this.
I've just tried not to lean on. I go to study at the library for every single spell that I need. Almost
you
ever.
definitely can, but it's going to take you weeks/months. Like, it's not, maybe not months, but it'll take you weeks.
Sure.
Like, it's not something you can just be like, today I'm going to learn this spell.
I mean, technically you could.
I think as per the rules, is an hour per spell level.
It'd be a day.
Then yeah.
If they had it available, but it's a 7th level spell, and but you know, it doesn't matter. I don't like the idea of, even though I've invented a whole library for me to come from, I don't like the idea of going, I have all the spells, that's fine, good. Unless it really becomes a part of, we could have survived with it, and then I'll feel really guilty. But
I mean, you are a 15th level wizard, man. It does make sense for you to have a crazy number of spells in your spell book.
Sure. I've gained a couple of spells over this time, I think, and that's not counting the ridiculous fucking blue fire spells as well, right. I suppose.
Maybe we should go get a plane shift scroll from somewhere.
Inside, I cringed because I know how expensive that would be, but outside in this game, we could probably quite easily manage it.
Would it be cheaper to make it, or faster?
It would take a lot longer to make it.
Yeah.
It would be cheaper for me to just learn the spell, to be honest, in 7 hours. Which I could have done at some point, at any point in the last 2 days or something. But
I am happy for you to do that as per the rules if you want to.
Because I did mention it while we were back in.
You said it's been a week and a half or something since you died and whatever. If we knew this was
Plus,
coming.
I feel like if this is something you're planning on, Byron would make sure that he has a contingency in place.
Yeah, because I
He's
died.
Not the sort of person to leave it to someone else to ensure that they're also.
Yeah. Because I died, and then we had 4 days. Then Guy had showed up, and then we went to Balern. It's been like a week at least. So Byron would have had time to have had those materials sent to him from.
And we just had a downtimey day or two.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. All in favor of Byron having the spell.
Do you want me to have Plane Shift or Mordenkainen's Magnificent Mansion? Because I could have either. Or 14 hours for both, I guess.
I mean, that doesn't seem like an unreasonable amount of time to learn 2 spells.
I was we did have 4 days of downtime in between Elishan dying and Gaia showing up. And we knew before Elishan died that we were going to have to be plane shifting to save this girl.
Okay.
I mean, I'm still going to prep plane shift just to...
Okay.
Go.
Well, if you're going to prep plane shift, then maybe... Well, I don't want Byron showing me up on the mansion.
Oh my god.
I'm kidding.
The pipe weight does work.
So then I have to...
Byron's mansion would be so much better.
So then I have 2 spells. I have Reverse Gravity and Mirage Arcane. And I'm wondering if Byron might enjoy trying to bend the plane of chaos to his own will and making land for us to walk on in the unknowable. So I kind of want to keep Mirage Arcane. And then Reverse Gravity in a place where there possibly isn't any gravity or any land might not work out so well. So maybe I'll get rid of Reverse Gravity for the moment.
Reverse Gravity is a great spell.
Oh, it's wonderful, but in a place where the up is down and down is up.
That was the sarcasm.
I know.
It's great when it's used against someone who isn't you.
That is one of the spells I hate most in D&D. I'm just
I love it.
Of course you do.
Tower of Mysteria, man. Tower over Mysteria.
All right, peeps. What are you doing?
Anyways, we're gonna go sail to the Algar, right?
But who are we leaving behind?
Why don't we just go the 4 of us? Leave Kreen and Arthas. Start out.
Old school.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll leave Kreen to mind the temple.
You never know who's going to show up. You still want a couple of your big guns behind,
Arthas is okay with Elishan saying that she's going by herself?
No. He definitely would not be.
But he knows Remy's the alpha, and he'll stay when he's told to stay.
That's exactly what I was going to say. No, he would protest until the last point. But if she was really determined not to let him come, then he wouldn't force himself. on the group.
It's not that I don't want you there. It's just, we have to have a safe way of getting everyone back.
Don't worry, buddy. I won't let any space gods make time with your girl.
And we don't know if the airstone will work across planes. I don't want to bring you and then not be able to bring you back.
Sort of like sighs, like just avoids looking at Remy. And just kind of like grits his teeth, and you can see his like jaw setting. Just fine, but he doesn't really know what to say, but he will let you go.
You're not going to be mad at me, right?
Just sighs. He's definitely going to be mad at her.
I mean, she's already lost one person in the planes. Understand, man. God.
Yeah.
Do you say something?
Spot. No, I don't.
But
Byron has some tact. I imagine she's not even discussing this anywhere near.
Yeah. This is probably like they're probably having this conversation in private or whatever, maybe. But yeah, she's just kind of. She would totally, as much as of a bitch that makes her totally play. Oh, I just lost my brother, and I've already lost someone to this place. I'm not going to lose you too.
She actually said that.
Yeah, maybe not in quite that smiling tone that I have right now, but yeah.
Oh, damn.
She would kind of play the I can't lose anyone else thing because he understands. She said that to him before. I can't lose anybody else.
So at that, he was kind of all gearing up to be like angry when she gets back. He just sort of deflates and like nods. Just come back.
I'll try my best.
I like nod and just pull you into a hug and a kiss. And then just, I guess, watch you sail away.
Yeah. She'll give him a little big old squeeze.
Rose is going to tell Kareen to mind the temple, keep an eye on Willow, and don't steal any cookies.
And he just stares back, and you can almost see the cogs turning behind his head as he's trying to find a loophole, but can't quite.
Helga will tell me how you've been.
Just nods, turns. Where's Willow? And he scampers off in search of Willow to keep an eye on her.
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, because for the entire duration that you're gone, he's going to be following Willow around, but only looking at her with one eye.
Willow, cut to Willow walking around. There's a sound of frantic brushing behind her, and every time she turns around, it stops. And
There's just a bush following her.
I thought of.
No, you go.
I was gonna say as she's saying her goodbyes to Arthas or whatever, she would kind of, whenever he's got her pulled in for the hug or whatever, and she's gonna say we might be gone for a few days, so don't go too crazy whenever. Okay.
Okay.
I'm coming back.
You better.
Okay.
And he's really, really not happy about this, but he understands. And her guilt tripping him into it, he's not gonna argue with that.
Yeah, and she'll kind of do that thing where she grabs the sides of his face and runs her thumbs along his eyebrows or whatever it is that she does that kind of keeps him calm or whatever. And then
scratches behind his ears.
Give him a big old kiss.
And the wind blows through their hair as the sun sets over the mountains.
It's like it's party and what have you. and then yeah, she's ready to go.
I mean, Remy and Rose are being very mature about this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. It's gross.
Get a room.
I think.
You're all right, Rose.
I try.
Where are we going again?
Just before we leave, Byron, because he trusts Bazreg's character, like he basically divulges what they're going to attempt to do in some detail. If everyone is basically scared of the planes, he should get the gist. I think he's
get
maybe
a lot of like head shaking, and if he didn't respect you so much, he'd be saying something along the lines of "you fucking people," but he just accepts and does his job.
I think Byron like has written some contingencies or something, various plans in their absence if things happen, or if they God forbid don't come back. How they want, or how he wants, or whatever, everything to be managed and Haven to build and things like that.
Byron gives him a binder,
Yes,
like Amy Santiago style.
Yeah, he's like, there's 2 more in my office. Should you need them? It's like those little plastic code things to break in specific emergencies.
And just to try and see that everything will.
I mean,
stuff with
with like
Haven will carry on.
Break around like things, he'll ensure him and Bazrag will be able to ensure that everything ends up running smoothly to some extent.
And the students with the halls and such, just in case.
Yeah.
That's how serious he's taking this, I guess.
He wishes you luck and begs that you return. And then you all take off. So you Silpha kind of directs you to follow the mountains, and then when you come to them, they sort of form this kind of horseshoe around Taith and Calland, just north of Viros, and so you kind of follow that round. And as you kind of get, to the apex, and it starts kind of turning back up, and this is probably, maybe a day later it takes you to get there. He kind of changes and suggests that but directs you to instead take a path heading further and further west rather than following the mountains north. And as you kind of fly in, you see this kind of deep valley that's extremely verdant, bright green forests and trees that look quite out of place in the freezing northern climate. And as you sort of skirt atop these trees in your ship, you get the impression that you're in quite like a strange, special place. The plants here are unlike any you've seen on Lament, let alone up north. And the rocks seem less and less random and more formed until eventually you round a corner and see what is essentially a city cut into the mountain. It's this beautiful, ornate rock and stone city with like huge kind of vaulting pillars and massive wide sweeping windows and doors that it looks almost deserted, like you can't see any people or anywhere around, but there's this huge kind of almost like a vista set out before you of just one huge city that curls around the kind of back of this valley. And as your ship kind of comes to light and you step off, you really only get a sense of the magnitude of this place when you're standing next to it. You know, the doors themselves are 20, 30 feet tall, 20, 30 feet wide. They're huge. You feel like you're standing in a place that was designed for giants rather than humans. And it is of a scale that you could never really contemplate existing in this plane. You stand before the doors, which are these huge stone walls with beautiful symbols carved into them of the night sky up above, and then all these obelisks and swirling patterns in the center that makes this kind of sea, or like almost like a tidal shifting pattern. Could be a map, could be, well, it could be any number of things, but it is unlike anything you've ever seen, as with everything in this place. But you stand before these closed doors.
So, should I knock?
Seems polite.
Silver's there, and he nods.
Okay.
Strut right up.
Hello! Knock, 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 knock.
Yeah, and it's that sort of like ominous Indiana Jones, like that echoes around. And like it seems like your knocks are amplified, like, you know, it sounds like someone much larger is knocking when you strike the stone. And nothing happens for a long time, maybe 20, 30 seconds.
Well, I'm out of ideas.
Before finally, with like a grating, groaning sound, the doors kind of slowly begin to part. And you hear, as soon as there's a gap in between them, you also hear like the sounds of people exerting themselves. You know, these aren't magically opening, they're being pulled open by 6 creatures that are extremely tall, extremely muscled.
Like 20, 30 feet tall,
humans,
or like 8 feet tall?
So you guys would know them as Goliaths. They've got grey skin, kind of covered in tattoos. You know, standing like 7 feet tall,
8 plus.
8 plus. And they're like pulling open the door with, you know, bulging, sweaty predator style muscles. And they stop when it's wide enough. And you see a 7th Goliath kind of walk up into the into the gap in the doorway, and he kind of looks down at you. He's wearing this sort of red and gold sort of monk robe that kind of comes to just below his knees, almost like a gi. And his arms are folded, and he kind of looks down at you all with a vaguely interested expression, waiting for you to speak.
Greetings, I am Captain Remy, Lord of Frosthaven, and these are my associates. Byron?
He speaks some of the truth. And he looks to see if there's any comprehension.
The Goliath's face is inscrutable, and his expression unreadable as he just kind of stares at you all for a moment. His eyes kind of glance over Silver and then the rest of you.
I'm Elishan. She waves.
We're her friends.
So the friends of Dorothy. And so he just kind of contemplates you all for a moment, nods very slightly, turns and begins walking away into the city. And the 6 Goliaths all kind of disperse and disappear, going down different doors and tunnels.
They leave the door open.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow the monk Goliath then.
And he's definitely like a little bit older than the big muscle dude bros who are opening the door. Like he's still extremely well built, but yeah, he might be middle aged, whereas they're all like young, kind of brash looking. But he sort of leads you down this huge stone corridor and out into what is clearly the city proper. And it's like a huge basin, which is kind of formed of stone. And all these buildings are into what would be like the bottom of this bowl, so that ones nearer the edge are much higher than the ones right in the center. And he kind of walks to the edge and begins climbing this frankly ridiculous amount of stairs that are leading up to kind of the top rim of the city, which gives you just this beautiful view down below of the huge, enormous landscape laid out before you. Stone buildings of all sizes. This must be home to a great many people, because it is just frankly an enormous place. Would anyone like to do anything or say anything as he's leading you up? Or are you just going to follow?
I think Byron's taking in a lot of the details of this place and people. Does it seem like there are many people bustling around this huge basin, or is it almost empty again?
No, you definitely do see a lot of people. Maybe not a lot, but there are signs of life. From the outside, it looked deserted, but from here, it's clearly like a place where people live. You see like a lot of the guards who notice you kind of stare a little bit, but more like, not like, oh my God, what are those things? But, they're definitely interested. But yeah,
if anybody gapes too long at Remy, he'll just be like,
"What are you looking at, Baldy?"
They'll just sort of like chuckle and move on.
That's right, keep walking.
Silver, is this a typical welcoming party?
Silver nods, kind of like glances kind of sideways at you, and just kind of whispers like, they like the sort of show. They like to look, important and mystical, so just let them do their thing, I think.
All right.
I don't know, the whole thing seems a little pompous to me,
Remy says very loudly.
There's no reaction from the Goliath leading you. But he leads you up these stairs, and eventually you come to a very large building that looks, sort of like the Parthenon, like a huge kind of temple. And inside, there is, similar to actually the picture that C sent a while ago, there is this kind of pool in the middle. But it doesn't look like water. It's very strange. It looks like almost like mercury, like it's made of a mirrored liquid that perfectly reflects the ceiling above. Apart from that, there is only like stone benches around the outside, and this building seems to be deserted. Or empty, not deserted, I should say. There's a stone brazier burning, like, on the far side. And he walks around the pool and takes a seat, kind of holds out his hands, indicating that you should do the same on the other side of the pool, opposite him. Silver takes a seat.
I'll sit.
I'll do the same.
Does the building's architecture kind of lend any kind of clues as to what it might, if this is religious or more administrative and governing?
This is
building?
This is religious.
All right.
Definitely.
So sensing that, Rose will take a seat as well.
Yeah.
Trying to mirror their host's gestures as closely as possible.
Yeah. See, he's like sitting with perfect posture.
I imagine Remy has a bit of a hard time getting into the chair.
Definitely. Everyone kind of has a fairly hard time, but yeah, Remy and Rose especially have an extremely difficult time. But he waits patiently. And then when everyone's kind of seated and waiting, he sits for maybe a few seconds longer, just letting the silence kind of fall before he speaks.
Remy burps.
Excellent. He would wait actually for the burp to die away, and then wait a few more seconds and have his silence, and then speak.
Okay.
And he'd just say, "What brings you here?" In like a very like over the top, like trying to be a sensei type voice.
Captain?
Well, we gotta rescue a little girl from between the pages of reality.
He frowns.
Kind of looks desperately to any of the spellcasters to describe what they're actually doing here.
Yeah, and Elishan will. I think we still have the book, so yeah, she'll like bring out the book. And
Yeah, she's got stuck in the book. So we need your help to get in the book, right?
I kind of look at Byron.
The book was a key to a portal. It took her to a place she shouldn't be, and she has been there too long. We aim to rectify this.
He holds out his hand for the book.
Elishan will give it to him.
He takes it and it looks tiny in his hands. He opens it, begins flipping through the pages before snapping it shut and handing it back. I do not recommend you follow this path.
Why's that?
There are certain things man should not have to see.
I mean, is it any worse than Cathane the Wisher? Because I saw him. I'm fine.
I do not know of what you speak.
Big space eyeball. You ever seen one of them?
And you see the kind of veneer crack a bit as just Remy disarms his whole shtick that he had going. I am unsure of what you mean.
Listen, buddy, I stabbed a space eyeball in the eye. I blew up a lich. I stabbed a molten dragon in the neck. I ain't scared of no book. All right? Neither of these guys. They're pretty tough, too.
The horrors which you have just listed are all horrors of the physical. These are not the horrors which await you if you continue down this road.
I have seen things in the chaos plane. I'm not entirely frightened of what this book may hold.
Oh, yeah, she works for a god now. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, so does Rose.
I mean, yeah.
Well, no, but she, met the god.
I mean, so is Rose. Kind
You
of.
met Lathander?
It's a long story.
It's just
maybe
every day is a gift.
Let's focus, Remy.
I'm trying to communicate to this very nice man.
Obviously not what he was going to say.
I appreciate that, but it's also important to remember that Elishan is not the only servant of a god here.
Well, I can tell I have harmed your delicate sensibilities. Let's. Okay. Can you help us get in the book?
And back out again safely. There's, yes, a girl, and we want to help.
To travel the plains is to risk everything. We can travel to many planes safely, but there are some that are beyond our reach. You can get to this plane. You may even get out again, but what you see there, or rather do not see there, that will go with you wherever you go after.
That's a price we're willing to pay, or at least I am.
Sound too confident. But...
What do you mean, not see there?
This book alludes to a plane that is a void. Man was not meant to step into a place like that.
I'm sorry. It avoids what?
A void.
He like
Right,
closes
avoids
his
what?
eyes. He closes his eyes and like has
Just-
this like
Just void. Not a void, just void.
emptiness.
Oh, like nothing.
Correct. There is no air. There is no light. There is no life.
So if the little girl's there, she's probably dead.
I don't think there's any probability even involved. I'm sorry.
We only found out about this plane because of the existence of a creature that was attempting to contact one of us from this plane.
Is that what happened? That wasn't the soul shade?
Yeah, Soul Shade's from Daskan.
That's
That's a chaos
Yes.
thing.
so it was just,
Yeah.
just
So
red.
we thought it was Kidius, but it was not.
We've never really sat down to discuss that and hashed all that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, were those two separate things, or like was that Kidius and then just happened to have a bad encounter with the soul shade the next night, or was it the soul shade the entire time?
Nah, the Soul Shade is been the thing haunting Elisha.
Right. So we assumed it was Kidius, and then we went down that thread from Elishan's past and found the book.
Yes.
But as it turns out, Kidius is probably dead.
Lathander told Rose that he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Kidius was on, like the Chaos Plane does Gend, and
He's not.
he's not.
No.
Nope.
Right.
Lathander told Rose that as well.
Yeah. And also,
Right.
Evelyn conjured up an image of Kidius, I believe,
It was fake.
to make it look, but Elishan realized that it was fake.
Okay.
Because Rose did a commune with Lathander, asked if Kidius was in Duskent, and it was no. Is Kidius alive? Yes. And can Elishan be cured? Yes. So Kidius is alive, according to.
Well, can you ask Lathander if the little girl's alive? Do we know her name?
I think her brother told it to us.
Yeah, I guess
I'm thinking-
I have no idea, but he definitely would have said.
I mean, I can speak with Lathander, certainly.
Okay. So anyway, my very tall, very bald friend, assume we're suicidal. Would you be willing to help us go to this place? No skin off your nose, right?
He shakes his head. He says, if you wish to go, you need only read the book.
What are we doing here then?
Well, these guys were supposed to be experts on traveling the plains, so it was worth asking if they had a way of doing it safely.
Do you know what this plane is called? So if we want to, we can. We don't have to use the book. Maybe that's a better way to go. Maybe the book's a trap.
That plane is the void.
The void. Okay. Who makes a book to the void? That's a terrible idea.
Crazy wizard.
Remy just knows all the right things to say.
Was it you?
You feel like crazy wizard.
I feel like the motto is always of like 90% of wizards in D&D is like, it's not about whether I should, it's just about whether I can.
It's like you guys are so caught up
Yeah.
whether or not. But also, we are dealing with an entity from another plane.
Oh, yeah.
The Chaos Queen is. Do you know of a way of keeping her there to ban her from this realm?
He thinks for a moment. There are always ways to close off the gates, but there are always ways to reopen them. None are permanent.
I mean, you got anything helpful? You know, I mean, we're here trying to save the world. Your ass is included, and you seem only interested in, giving me half answers. You know, you want to be helpful or what?
We were told they were trying to run from this place.
Running?
And he looks up at the very large man. Is that true? You flee from your problems?
Says, our problems do not lie in the fate of any one world. And you have seen as many as us. You know that there are things more important than the survival of just one land.
Well, you know, then, perhaps, with all of your vast knowledge in traveling, that when it comes to this chaos, if you leave this plane for another, it will follow you. You will doom whatever plane you walk into.
Yeah.
The same fate as this one.
Yeah.
That is why we are still here, among other reasons.
Well, so, you got 4 badass motherfuckers here who, we kill powerful stuff all the time. We're a resource. So don't give us no shit. Help us, we'll help you. How about that?
What would you have us do?
I don't know.
Then why do you ask for help if you do not know what help you need?
Well, you're so damn smart.
Am I?
You seem to be trying to portray that.
He's like, he sort of gives you this frown as though he's like, damn it. But he doesn't want to say anything.
Listen, buddy, if you got nothing useful to say, that's fine. But I wouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth. Like I said, we're like world-breaking heroes here, you know? You got problems, let us help you.
Our problems are merely that we could not leave this place before the chaos returned.
So you
Well, I
know of
mean-
no way of fighting it? Stopping it? Only times I've been to Doskent, it's been an accident or I was pulled there by one of them. Do you have a way of doing it safely? So we can maintain our strength?
He nods. We know of a way into that place.
Finally, something useful.
Like Elishan kind of like waves a hand to kind of say like, well, then go on.
It is, how would you say, a back door. It is a way in that maybe the Queen does not know exists. And he sort of like smiles, and you can tell he's quite proud for this fact. But it is not exactly safe. As with all planar travel, there are risks.
And what are they? Besides being trapped in Doskent forever, because that place is a hellscape.
Being trapped between, being split between. He shrugs. The same risks as everywhere, merely amplified. I believe it possible, though.
You said you couldn't flee this place until the chaos returned. Do you need them, that energy to leave?
That's not what he said.
Oh,
It is what he said. It might not have been what you meant to say.
They said
It's
that
definitely one. Yeah,
their problem was that they didn't leave before the chaos showed up.
oh.
they should
Okay.
have, but they didn't.
I see.
Because now they're fucked, because anywhere they go, the chaos will come with them. So they should have left before. That's what he meant.
Okay.
Might be.
For both me and Dylan to hear it differently, I think you might have said it differently. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Okay.
I think I said, like,
I
our
think
only
it's
problem is that we didn't leave before the chaos
Oh,
arose.
okay, my bad.
Which I can see very easily how
okay.
that goes. It's true.
Is
Is that okay?
It's fine.
Yeah, whatever.
All right.
So you help us get where we gotta go. Give us some good advice about how to survive when we get there, and we take care of your chaos problem. Then you can leave. How about that?
He nods.
All right. God, some people you just gotta drag by the nuts. Giant, perfectly smooth nuts.
So that's Remy. That's Remy asking about getting into the chaos plane, right? Not
The void. He wants a way into the void.
Well, generally speaking, help
Yeah.
us get where we gotta go and survive.
Yeah. It's like we kind of have like two agendas here. Like one is
Yeah.
rescuing Kidius and the little girl, and the other one is getting help with Evelyn. And they know of a back door into Doskent that Evelyn doesn't know about, supposedly. I don't know what that does for us now, but I think Remy still, from what I'm gathering, still wants us to save the little girl and want them to help us do that. Right?
If we discover that she's alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we talk to Lothander, if Rose talks to Lothander and yeah, she's still, even if like her spirit is somehow able to be recovered, whatever. If we can't, we can't. Fuck it. Remy's not going to cry over her. He doesn't know her. But, if we can, great.
Do you have a way of locating someone within the planes? Within this void? Can you confirm if like this girl and my friend are still there? And if they're not, where they would be? Is that something you can do?
we can see into the planes sometimes, but We do not look into the void.
Well, if we gotta go.
Could, but you won't, is what I'm hearing. Yes?
We do not.
What if
Would
one of
you
us did?
Just yes.
He shakes his head.
What
If
do
you
you
wish
mean?
to go, that is your prerogative. But we will not have a part in it.
So just to be clear, you got no recommendations for survival at all.
My recommendation is that you do not continue down this path.
So you said that you can look into the planes. Could you but you don't look into the void. Could you show one of us how to look into the void so we can see for ourselves if these people we need to rescue are there? Because if they're not there, then we can rescue them from wherever they're actually at.
One does not merely glance between the planes. It is not something you just gaze through. It is a skill that few can master.
Sir, I'm hearing a lot of no buts, and I would really like to hear a lot more yes ands.
The void is not a
Jesus,
place.
sassy right now.
The
Really
void
dropping
is
off
not
on
a
her.
place for
Yeah.
people.
And you don't have anyone that would be willing to do this.
He shakes his head. Like, you can tell that it's not even a question. You know, like, you may as well be asking him to, like, kill someone or something. It's like, it's not something that would ever cross their minds to do because it's so heinous.
I'm sorry if this feels redundant, buddy, but just real quick for clarification. Your recommendation is that we don't go. Is that because you don't know anything useful about going there?
It is because that place will destroy you both physically and mentally, and even if you survive, and even if you retain your sanity, you'll be a broken shell of a human.
So
The rest of your
no, you
existence.
don't know how to go there and what to do when you get there.
Correct.
Okay, there we go. So he can't help with that. That's fine. Backdoor to that skit. That's good. Maybe, sorry, Al. Maybe Kidius is goner.
Except he's not.
I mean, effectively.
I love pragmatic Remy.
I mean, I don't think Lathander would have said he was alive.
Right, but alive in some kind of existential psychic horror. You know what I mean?
Maybe you should speak to Lathander again about guidance about this. Because I don't want to give up, but if there's not a way of doing it, then there's... She kind of trails off.
I can certainly speak with him again on this matter. I would have thought his answer was definitive.
I love that. I just love that line. I've asked the god once. Do you really want me to go back and ask again? Like,
Well, the new
it's
question
like, it's like for,
the void.
yeah, or like, can he be saved? Like, he might be alive, but we can't save him.
no, I just love like the sass of like I would have thought his answer is definitive. Like, like goddamn well asked a god what he thought. You want me to go back and second guess him?
Yeah, do you want to say, are you sure?
Yeah.
No,
Oh god.
The question is not, is he alive? The question
Lathander's like, I'm not a magic 8-ball, guys. All right.
Yeah.
it's a different question.
Does Byron like me? Yes or no?
That's a hard one for any god to answer.
I mean, I think of it more of along the lines of, you know, her being like, I would hope that Lathander wouldn't, you know, play coy with this answer. Be like, from a certain point of view, he's still alive in all of our hearts.
Right. Well, no.
Oh
So
my
Well, no, it's
definitely
more of
physically
a-
alive, but
Yeah.
where is he, and can we rescue him?
Yeah, it's like one of those things. It's like, yes, he might be like, we're not doubting that he's alive. It's not like, is he alive
His
in a figurative
heart
sense?
is still beating.
Yeah,
You know
his
that.
heart is still beating or whatever. The question is now, can he be rescued? And yeah, because like wherever
Some
he's
would
at,
say
he's
he has
alive.
already been rescued by his faith.
Oh.
Now we understand why Rose is questioning her faith.
So Fanders just turns out to a bit of a prat. He just likes giving half answers.
My life has been a lie.
So are you gonna cast a spell to ask Lathander things?
Certainly am.
Okay, what are you asking?
Are we want? Do we want to know? Can Kidius be?
I would like to know if he is in the void.
Okay, so is Kidius in the void?
Are you like? Do you ask them
Yeah.
one by one? Right,
Well,
okay.
we can, you know, questions by committee and then ask them, or we can, you know, one at a time. Your guys' choice. Because, well, let's get the answer because it might, the answer to that question might lead to the next question.
Have you got 3 questions or 5?
I think it's 3. It's 3.
It was 3 last time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes. Is the answer.
So he is in the void.
Can
Is that your
Yes.
second question?
Yes. Don't do that, Jade. Don't do that.
can he be retrieved with all of us intact and surviving or whatever? However you want to word that.
Can we rescue him from the void?
Is it just yes or no answers?
I think the unclear can be one of the answers.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can the DM give like short cryptic sentences or something?
Mhm.
I don't think unclear.
Don't.
But
The spell is commune, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's short, or it's yes or no, or short cryptic sentences. I think.
So you can you can offer a short phrase.
Okay, so can you give me the exact question again, then, please?
Oh, yeah, you can have unclear if it lies beyond the deity's knowledge. If the one-word answers could be misleading or contrary, the DM can offer short phrases instead.
Okay, so it's designed to be like one-word answers.
Yeah.
It's either yes or no, or like if you don't feel that would be enough,
right,
like you can do
Or accurate.
or
Yeah,
accurate.
okay,
You
so
can explain to some degree.
what was the exact question again, Jade, please?
Were we going with, can we rescue him from the void? Is that an acceptable
I think so.
approximation?
It entails
Okay.
that we could survive the void somehow and feasibly rescue him potentially.
Which is kind of 2 questions.
Idea.
Can we rescue him from the void and survive?
Yeah, but it's
Yes.
it's about being clever, I suppose, with the answers, maybe.
Because he can say, you know,
Yes, you can rescue him, but you're gonna die. But so like we have
Okay.
2, like, can we rescue him and survive? Question mark.
But survive can also be mentally broken, that you could, but still breathing.
Yeah.
Which is, I
Well, if
think,
we
one
say
of-
in
yeah.
whole, if we say whole, then again that could just be uninjured and still with a broken mind or whatever. But you can't really.
Or it could just be that he's dead, but his body is all in one piece.
that's fine. I can fix that.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, what's the exact question you're asking?
Do we want, can we rescue him and survive? Is that
So you're asking if Lathander wants that to be the question. Is that your question?
No, I'm asking if everybody wants us. Oh my god.
I think something along those lines are good. I don't know if rescue him from the void and survive is two technical questions,
I
but
think if we get too specific with this, we're just going to be banging our heads together.
All right. Can we rescue him from the void?
You can rescue his body.
Right.
Can his mind be restored? Maybe, or
I would
Yeah.
ask if he could be
Can-
restored because
well-
I would want to know. Okay.
what about can we protect ourselves from the effects of the void?
All right. Can we protect ourselves from the effects of the void? That's a good question.
Oh, damn it. It is a good question.
Clearly, I'm a genius.
Right.
Clearly.
Your answer from on high is yes.
with the intonation.
Guys, I don't know what this means. He was like, yes.
The thing is, we have yes. We have no idea how to do that or what it would take. You know,
Sounds like research is what it takes.
the tears of an elder dragon
Yeah.
and the blood of a newborn mummy or something. You know, it could be anything.
A newborn mummy. That is an interesting concept.
Oh God, it's a really disturbing concept.
So, okay, so we can get his body back from the void. And that's what we're going to have to do.
And probably this little girl too.
I mean,
You all forgot to ask about her.
Nelly.
The implication is that they both are in the same condition, but maybe not.
I don't think so, but don't give him ideas.
I mean, you
I don't
cast
need
that shit as
ideas.
a ritual again.
I've had this prep for fucking sessions, lads.
You can take a long rest and cast it again.
It's a 5th level spell. She probably has another one, right?
Yeah.
Well, you can cast it as a ritual too.
Oh, wait.
Oh, fucking spam that shit.
The answers get less accurate if you cast it.
So that's why she goes, yes.
No, the answers get less accurate if you cast it again in the same day.
Yeah, they have a cumulative 25% chance of being wrong, basically, or no answer.
Basically, that is when the god is like, go the fuck away.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm busy running the universe.
Can you stop buzzing me?
I'm trying to have dinner with the fam.
Stop pinging the keep chat. I'm trying to sleep.
This is why there's very few 9th level clerics in the world, because every time one gets powerful enough, Lathander's like, nope, don't want to talk to you. It squishes them.
It's effectively getting him on a speed dial. And he's like,
Yeah.
Can't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you cast it again, there's a 25% chance
That he ignores you,
he
essentially.
won't answer. Okay.
Yeah.
Could you try divine intervention just to see if you roll well enough to get them both back right now?
I guess you could. Right, you do that once per day, right?
Once per day, and then if it succeeds, it's on a weekly reset.
Okay.
I mean, I would be willing to try. There's probably a 95% chance that I'm annoying Lathander right now, but
Yeah. I guess it's not exactly fate of the world shit.
No, it's interesting because this is kind of possibly one of the most dangerous things we've done, but it's for a side mission to save one small girl and a Kidius.
Attempt to save.
An attempt, exactly. This is like pure do-gooders bullshit right here.
This is going after Ruby Weapon before you've grinded to level 99 in Final Fantasy VII.
I mean, I'm ready to, do some divine intervention.
If you want to try, there's going to be like a really pained expression that we'll feel from Rob when you just demolish the side quest with a single divine intervention. So,
I mean,
maybe
That's
he'll
the
protect
game.
us. Maybe.
I mean, this pretentious Goliath, I'd like to show him something.
Fuck you, and you just click your fingers and they appear on the floor before him, and then you walk off.
I mean, if we had level 9 spells, you could cast Gate and summon them that way. But
Yeah, we could say their true names or whatever and bring them forth. Hmm.
You know Kitty's true name's unpronounceable as fuck, though, because he's a tiefling. Alright. We are running low on time here, ladies and gentlemen, so what is it that you want to do?
Just to see.
Do it.
That is a 12.
Which is... I don't know what the percentage are.
It's your
under
level.
15.
Yeah,
What?
it's under.
Are
Yeah.
you kidding me?
So you did it.
Yeah.
God damn.
Alright.
What the fuck, man?
Let me just have a quick read of this before I say what I'm going to say. God fucking damn it, of course. Of course you get fucking what is it?
I mean, I imagine like Rose just like stands up, cracks her knuckles,
Watch
grabs
this
her
bitch.
holy symbol. Yeah.
I mean, I think this is sort of entirely in the GM realm of whatever you decide
Rob
to
decides
do.
However he decides.
So, like, they could appear at our feet, or like, he could bless us and protect us through the journey through the void, or something. If you didn't want to throw away, a session or two's worth of prep.
It was not a session or two's worth of prep.
But with us talking about the ramifications afterwards, maybe it might be a session or two.
I'm actually quite glad it's gone this way. Because that was like potential campaign ending stuff. So right, here we go. Okay. Right. So okay. So it says that I get to choose the effect, the nature of the intervention, and well, just because I'm a little bit furious that you're ruining my quest, and I'd like a little bit of revenge. I'm gonna say Lathander can save one of them.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like you were going to bring through weird void creatures with them or something. But no, that's worse. That's worse.
And Rose has to choose?
Yes.
Oh.
Now, Jade, you have two choices here. You can either choose now, or you can go away and think about it for a week.
That's almost worse.
Seems like an obvious choice to me. I mean, the little girl was innocent.
Yeah.
I mean, so is Kidius, but I mean, it's a little girl. Child. Always save the child.
Rose is gonna look at Elishan because before this she's kind of being super smug and trying to like show off and it's
You're
clearly
being
being put.
punished for your hubris.
Yeah, my hubris is and I'm gonna say I'm sorry. You know what I have to do. And I'm going to choose to save the little girl.
Very well. And so there's this intense flash of blinding light, and before you appears Nellie. She's lying down. She's pale. And she's not breathing.
Just got back from the upside down.
Looks like your miracles aren't done for the day yet.
Yeah. Any kind of check to see like if I can stabilize her, or if I need to do like some more serious.
This is gonna be a big one. She's been dead for a while.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to.
Rose just goes, not on the list, and then turns around and walks away.
This is gonna require some preparation. I'm gonna have to use resurrection, so I can't do it right now.
Very well.
So I suppose that then is as good a place to end it as any. Just with you all feeling a little bit shit.